The Rockets dodged a massive bullet as new reports have come out saying that before Houston was able to sign Dorian Finney-Smith, they were going to make a trade for this player that would have made Rockets fans very upset. Welcome into Rockets Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you taking the time to tune into today's show. Dorian Finney-Smith was definitely a very highly regarded move across the NBA this offseason. And the Rockets seem to have had this in mind the entire time because we had reports saying that before he had declined his player option, DFS did, that the Rockets were going to try to trade for him. Well, we know now that he declined the player option. The Rockets immediately pounced, signed him to a 4-year deal, 2 of those years being guaranteed. However, we're getting some new information now that maybe DFS wasn't the first option, but to me, it certainly was the best option. We got this yesterday saying Houston pursued Dean Wade in the Cavs trade before the Dorian Finney-Smith signing. Now, if you don't know who Dean Wade is, he is a forward for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, well, to put it lightly, he is nowhere near as good as DFS. He's got the height, he's young, he's got 5.4 points per game, 4.2 rebounds. I'm not saying he's a terrible basketball player, but the Rockets, as we'll tell you, were planning to offer him the same amount of money as Dorian Finney-Smith, and, well, I would have not liked that whatsoever. Not what I want, and, well, here's where we have the report come in, saying this. Quote, before signing Dorian Finney-Smith in free agency, the Houston Rockets pursued a trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers for forward Dean Wade, sources said. Which is intriguing. We obviously know the Rockets are trying to kind of put together a defensive-minded wing/forward team. Well, Dorian Finney-Smith is one of the best 3-and-D defenders out there. Dean Wade, not on the list. I'm very confused by why the Rockets were even talking about this. Now, here is where it gets even crazier. I told you that the money was going to be similar. Clutch Points Brett Siegel says that Houston was willing to offer Wade a full MLE extension over the next few seasons, the same deal that Finney-Smith ultimately got, if they were able to finalize a trade with Cleveland. End quote. So, I'm going to compare these two guys, but the Rockets, who got DFS, were going to give basically everything, that middle-level exception deal to Dean Wade if they were able to get the trade done. My one question to Rafael Stone is, why? This guy is not a good basketball player to me. I mean, he's consistent, but 5.4 points over the past 2 seasons, 4.7, 5.3, 6 points, 1.7. Yeah, it's just not great. And you're talking about a forward with a rebound of 3.5 per game per his career. I don't understand, but it's an interesting spot to be in for sure. And before I put these two kind of comparisons together for Dorian Finney-Smith and Dean Wade and show you exactly why DFS is by far the better option, we're closing in on 5,000 subscribers. And if you're still watching this far into the video, it means you're enjoying the content. So go down there and hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. And I would love to reach that 5,000 subscriber mark by the end of the week. Okay, so DFS was ultimately the signing the Rockets did make. Was that the smart move? Obviously, I'm putting it out there saying that I think DFS is by far a better player. Well, maybe I should let the stats do the talking. We go to a full NBA comparison here where games played, whatever, I don't care about that. Points per game, DFS wins that game. Rebounds per game, okay, yeah, I guess, looking at 5.1 to 4, it's different. Assists per game, just in favor of Dean Wade. Field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, expected field goal percentage, all in favor of DFS. And this is last season. Maybe, Rockets, of course, NBA executives, they're always looking at more deep, looking more into the stats. Maybe career stats are in favor of Dean Wade. No. In fact, the only stat he has in his entire career that is better than Dorian Finney-Smith is a 36.7 3-point percentage compared to DFS's 35.9%. I'm not going to sit here and say that Dean Wade is absolutely the scum of the earth and is not a good basketball player. He is in the NBA. He is a good basketball player. But for DFS to be the option over Dean Wade is by far the right choice. And it seems like maybe it wasn't. maybe it wasn't. The Rockets, for all intents and purposes of these reports, were saying that this trade for Dean Wade was being offered to the Cleveland Cavaliers as a sizable return before free agency even started. This was before the NBA draft. So Dean Wade was the option ahead of Dorian Finney-Smith? I don't understand that. Let's look at some more parts of this report. Clutch Sports' Brett Siegel says, quote, when the Cavaliers declined this trade involving Wade and the Lakers' fallout with Finney-Smith made its rounds across the league, the Rockets quickly moved on to the veteran two-way wing and offered him a 4-year, $52.7 million contract. Once again, the Cavaliers declined a trade. So, in theory, the Rockets were going to give up something. And I don't know what that is. We didn't get reports of what the actual trade offer was. But I have to assume that it maybe included Cam Whitmore at the time, which we know now that he went to Washington. But what else could have been included? That is such a scary thought to have, to know that you signed DFS. There was no trade. He worked out with the money. You gave him exactly what exactly we're going to give Dean Wade, I guess. And there was no need to give anybody up. Now, I sit here and again, like I said, maybe, just maybe, that the plan was to give up, let's say, Cam Whitmore. You were already going to trade him. That was the whole plan. So the Cavaliers, maybe they were going for him. But I still just almost can't believe it with how different these guys' stats were last season. I would way rather Dorian Finney-Smith, especially for the purposes when you talk about the Rockets needing some extra offense. I don't care. Like, rebounds per game is great. I trust Alperen Şengün and this team to be one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. And Dorian Finney-Smith had no center at his team with the Lakers. So I expect the rebounds per game to go up this season like he had in his career. The assists per game, I don't really care about too much. Dorian Finney-Smith is not going to play that type of role. I want the points. I need the extra offense on this team when you think about wanting this team to be so defensive-minded. I'm not saying that KD is not a great offensive player. I'm not saying that this team is not going to be improved upon on offense from last season. But that was a huge problem. And so any way I can improve the offense, it's exactly what I would like. And this is just a small thing, but kind of going back to the little roster update here, I think it looks way better with Dorian Finney-Smith down there than Dean Wade. For a couple of different reasons. Dorian Finney-Smith is a bigger guy and is going to be more forcitive down there, which we know that Ime Udoka and the way that they play defense is definitely going to be more important than what Dean Wade would have brought. We also know that Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr. kind of have a similar body type to Dean Wade, and that kind of tall but a little lengthy guy. I don't think we need another one of those. I'm just very concerned that this was a thing. And so, obviously, they dodged it. It didn't end up happening. I am so curious, though. What was the trade offer? What did the Rockets offer to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Dean Wade? Was it Cam Whitmore? Was it Reed Shepherd? I would have hated to see them give up really anybody. It would have not been the greatest thing at all. So, oh well, I guess is the best thing to put it. It didn't end up happening, and this 14-man roster, obviously after the Josh Okogie signing, was a great thing to see. I do want to make one correction. Jeff Green is not on here. Yes, I know. He is going to be down there, but this is a little bit more of two Jayshawn Tates instead of Jeff Holiday. Or Jeff Green, excuse me. So that is the one mistake. I do want to correct that if you're still watching here at the end of the video. I do apologize for yesterday not mentioning it in the show. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I mean, maybe I'm being too harsh, but how would you have felt if the Rockets would have gotten Dean Wade instead of Dorian Finney-Smith? Obviously, I've said it this entire show, but I would have not been happy whatsoever. But maybe I'm out of line. Maybe Dean Wade is not as bad as I see from these stats. Maybe there's stuff that I'm missing. I know that Dean Wade and his defense is definitely, an average defender, but I like Dorian Finney-Smith's defense way better than Dean Wade's, and I like him as a whole way better than Dean Wade. So get your thoughts in the comment section. I really do like kind of talking ball down there with you. But yeah, we're going to keep you updated on the Houston Rockets as the roster construction is definitely at a interesting place right now. They've got 14 roster spots filled and literally like 1 million, if not even less than that, for their cap space on the first apron. So I would have to expect them to not even use that 15th roster spot, but there's a lot to still be had with the Summer League roster and knowing which guys are going to be signed to G League teams, which guys are going to be two-way players. Is Cameron Matthews going to get a two-way contract? Obviously, they let go of Nate Williams for getting Cameron Matthews. Is he going to make the team? There's still a lot of news and information to kind of wait on and come out, and we are now closing in on August, guys. It's July 23rd. By the time August comes around, we're going to get the Rockets schedule. We're going to get a bunch of new information. We're going to have key matchups to look forward to, and it's a little bit of a slow time right now, but good times and a lot of news and information is coming up. So, as always, again, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep you updated on all of that information. But for now, we'll see you next time here on Rockets Digest, guys. Peace out.